Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 334. Let's talk scorigami. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Sam and Eddie. Boys, how's it going?
As usual, episode kicks off a little deafer than I was 5 seconds before the episode started.
It's always good just to be like re-woken up. It's
Yeah.
quite late here in Europe,
true, yeah.
so it's always good to get perked up.
Yeah. But, and anyone who's trying to fall asleep as they listen to our episode, we'll just going to delay that by 90 minutes. But now I'm all right. And it's interesting, so after the conversation we had with the two of you about the wedding and Frank, you being Sam's plus one, got some pretty instantaneous feedback from listeners, a lot of whom have said they enjoy some of our less sporty discussions more than some of our sports discussions, which I'll take as a compliment. They didn't mean it as a negative. And so Sam, over the week, I had this question, and as our resident expert when it comes to these topics, I thought I might ask you something, and this is not specific to you, but based on, it's a little bit of a spin-off on what happened with the idea of you and Frank going on a date together. I have a question.
No, wait, that was never the topic.
Well, it could have been one of the conditions.
Going on a date
It could have been
together.
one of the conditions.
I mean, it kind of is a date, but yeah.
Is attending a wedding together as a plus one.
So,
Well, oh, come on, Frank.
anyway, here's the question. And the answer to this is probably not universal, so this is going to come across, you're not going to be able to give a complete answer to the question I'm about to ask. However, when you're hitting on a guy in a bar and you kind of decide you want to go home with him, he likes you, you like him. And obviously within the gay community, you have tops and you have bottoms. And there are also people who are willing to do both. At what stage in the evening do you have to have the conversation about whether the other, like, I'm a top, what are you? Or the sort of, because as a straight man, I cannot relate to having to have that conversation sort of before anything occurs.
Oh, really? So when you're hitting up a woman in the bar, you don't say, I love receiving?
No.
That's
I love
surprising.
receivers. I'm a big fan of wide receivers. That's my pickup line.
Okay, that could also be
And Sam
sexual.
says he's a big fan of tight ends.
Oh.
Tight end, wide
Hey-o.
receivers, they've all got connotations. So that was from one of the listeners, or is that your question?
No, we've lost listeners from Eddie's
Oh, so we haven't. So we haven't had like Joe Gruden.
This is my question. However, I will say, because some of the feedback that we did get from listeners, they were fascinated by this, and I do think listeners, if you want to submit your questions about this type of topic, you can, follow us on Instagram, the Big Chill Podcast. Follow us on Twitter, the Big Chill Podcast. Just tag us in it. Just ask away, and we can discuss them. Doesn't have to be at all related to sports, but yeah, no, this is purely, I was kind of thinking about it, and I was realizing I have no understanding of when that conversation would take place.
Okay, I look forward to this 15-minute segment, kind of appearing, just after the NFL, just like, no, we turn to the homosexual topics.
But Eddie, before he answers, isn't it a little presumptuous that, like, you're implying within the first night that it's going to reach that level?
No, but I'm just imagining.
no,
I'm just like a bar. You're taking someone home, So like, I imagine if I'm single, I'm picking up a girl in a bar. I don't have to have a conversation with her on the way home of, are there specific positions that you're willing to get into? You see what I mean? Like those are conversations that you do not need to have in a straight relationship. Whereas obviously, from my perspective, maybe I'm wrong. I would have thought that's a conversation maybe you do need to have before you get home as two gay men. But this is where Sam comes in.
It is. depends on what kind of you would anticipate the end result being. So if you just think it's like a one night stand and it's just for sex, you probably are going to find out pretty quickly for compatibility. But if you, I don't know, say if you get talking with a guy and maybe like you like really hit it off, there's a connection and that kind of thing, I'd probably say it would come up naturally, if that makes sense. Like at some point it's going to be like, look, if we're going back to mine, just to let you know, this is my way, this is the way I'm inclined.
Do you say my way or the highway?
I kind of actually just do it with the Limp Bizkit in the background. So I don't really say it. I'm just going to let Fred Durst tell you. So yeah, I'd probably say it like that. I think if you just want sex, you'll ask pretty quickly. And it'll be like, oh, well, it's not going to happen. Or you just don't go all the way.
Okay, and again, right. This is not going to be universal, but you've almost raised more. When you say you're going to ask pretty quickly, I'm going to walk up to you. We're in a bar. I go, hey, Sam. Well, I don't know your name. I go, hey guy.
How do you know my name?
Who are you?
I'm your worst nightmare.
But I'm a bottom. So.
Oh, great.
There we go. Okay, we just role-played it pretty well.
Yeah.
I see. It's
see
smooth.
the dynamic.
Yeah, it's very natural.
It's not clunky. It's not clunky at all.
No. Okay.
I also think there's probably you kind of pick up on it as well. Like it's not like a look thing. So
what does that mean?
So just,
if they've got a wider stride, they're probably a bottom.
Yeah, if they're walking around like a crab.
I was just picturing how they were like positioned in the bar, like if they had their hands on the bar and were just like stick it out.
No, there's
if the guys,
just half the people in the club are just walking around like John Wayne.
If the guy's
are
just
there pineapples involved?
Yeah. If the guy's just sitting at the bar, but you realize it's not a bar stool, it's just his umbrella, then you're like, okay, now we know where he stands.
No, they just have these gay nights where you just wear like a picture in front of you and it just says like top, bottom, or versatile.
Because
like a traffic light, like a gay traffic
versatile.
Light.
Wow, that must be like a good pull in the gay community, huh?
You're like the flex play in fantasy football.
You're like the O negative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say you can just pick up on it. I mean, come on, like if you're gay and you've been gay your whole life and you've been going out for like 10 years or whatever, like in the gay scene, you're probably going to get an idea of kind of who prefers what. Just
but
from,
how?
Like,
no, you're not
to them.
The way you speak to them. Like if I come up to you and hey, you want
but
a
in
drink?
the same way that you would know if someone's hitting on you or not, or if you know they're like giving you eyes across the bar. You just kind of know from the experience of like looking for it.
Is the assumption that the one doing the hitting is a top?
No. Okay. I actually, this might be controversial, but I would actually say the opposite.
Oh, hot take.
This whole segment's controversial. We've lost all of our listeners.
Big Chill Podcast hot take.
Hot take.
We're gonna call you Sam. We're gonna call you Stephen Gay Smith from now on, and you're just gonna give us the hot takes.
All right, there's my hot take. I think bottoms do more of the hitting than tops in the gay world.
All right, that's a nice way, I suppose. Disagree. Again, interact with us on social media. It's going to be an interesting.
I thought you were saying you disagree.
I disagree. I'll tell you for what. And I'll tell you for why, Sam. I disagree.
Oh, Sam, you are wrong. And let me tell you personally why.
Personally and intimately why you're wrong.
Now, speaking of things that Sam has been wrong about in the past, Sam let slip this weekend. He and I were texting. I was on the way back from a trip to the driving range, and we were just talking about random things, and out of the blue, Sam just said to me, "Do you think I seem like more of a Dexter than I seem like a Sam?" I was like, "Who on earth has told you this?" And Sam said his dad told him that when he was born, the options for his potential name were Samuel and Dexter, and obviously they chose Samuel. Now, we can get into whether or not Dexter is a good name. That's for a later debate. But as part of this, Sam then said, well, there's like something more unique about Dexter Jones. Like Dexter Jones sounds like a really good name. I'm not going to deny it. Dexter Jones is a kind of unique name, but you always had the argument that your name was more Samuel Jones. Was kind of as unique as it could get.
Coming from Sam, that is impressive. You know, I mean, he is on the podcast as saying he has a very unique name compared to our names, which are very boring. At first I thought you meant to say, is he a Dexter as in the serial killer from the TV show? And I thought that was going to lead to a much deeper conversation we were about to have.
No. Do you know what were your alternative names, Frank? Was it always Frank? Always going to be Frank. Zero change.
I think so. Yeah. It's a family name.
What about if you're a girl?
Francesca.
I don't know.
Frankina?
Francesca, man. What are you, Frankina?
Francesca Man. Hi, I'm Francesca Manduca.
Manchesca.
Manduca. You should just Manduca. I like that. Yeah. I don't know what my alternatives would have been had I been a girl. However, when I was born, I was originally named Frederick. And then, so for the first...
And then they just push that back to later in your name?
Well, basically...
Yeah.
So
this is going to be second.
Edward was one of my middle names.
Third,
yeah. So Edward was one of my middle names, and then they flipped them. After like 24 hours, they decided I was more of an Edward than a Frederick. So they flipped it around. I think first 24 hours of my life, I was Frederick.
What happened in the chaos of those 24 hours?
I just think, so the significance is based on like kind of passed down family names. So my Edward is a name from my dad's side of the family, and then one of my other I have two middle names. The other one is Ian. That came from my mother's side of the family. And then Frederick was chosen as the kind of unique sort of new name, and then just looked at me and decided I wasn't a Frederick.
Now, what's interesting there is you prefer Eddie over Ed. Would you have preferred Freddie over Fred?
Yeah, I think I would have definitely been a Freddie. For sure. But that would have been interesting. Because originally, when I was a little kid, I was adamant that my name could not be shortened. Until I was like 11 or 12, if anyone called me Ed or Eddie, I hated it. I refused to respond to it. I was like, my name is Ed.
Is this the kid who would sit in the first class airplanes and complain and pretend his legs were paralyzed?
This is...
Is that why your legs became paralyzed on the flight? The flight attendant called you Eddie, and you just had a mental breakdown?
He just locks up.
No, unrelated stories. But yeah, no, I hated it. I was really, because I mean, part of it was kind of being the British kid in the US, and in the US, everyone wanted to shorten my name, and it was kind of like this feeling of I kept an element of my Britishness by sticking with Edward. I think that was kind of my logic, and then it was just at a certain moment in time, all my friends started calling me Eddie, and I was probably 11 or 12, and then from that moment on, I mean, I still introduce myself as Edward.
So even when you lived in America, you were so anti-American that you wanted to keep your English roots.
Yeah, that will please your dad. For a while, I went by Osama, but it just didn't stick.
Why it didn't? Oh, so what you're saying is it didn't land?
Whoa! Too far, Sam.
Way too far, Sam.
Whoa!
Oh, really? So we're doing the 15-minute gay segment. Anything like that? Perish the thought.
Pretty much, yeah.
I can just imagine you, Eddie, as like an 11 or 12-year-old. Like, okay, I'm going to make some friends, and then someone's like, "Hi, Ed. Excuse me." Like, no.
Let's be clear. I had friends. All right. I don't want to.
I said trying to make friends.
Like, but I didn't wait to. It's not like I waited to 11 to try and make friends. I already had friends. Let's be.
How many?
Yeah, his mom and sister lived with him.
Yeah.
Well, my dad also lived with me, Frank.
Yeah, well, he wasn't your friend.
He wasn't my friend.
No. He refused to be your friend.
How many friends? I don't know. Didn't know when I was a kid. Probably not that many. I don't know. I feel like as a young kid, when you're really little, you don't have that many friends. You kind of got a group of maybe like 4 or 5. I think when you're like, those are the kids you like always hang out with, you have sleepovers with. It's not like I was like some massive social group that I was kind of going from one to the other. It was kind of like I had a core group of 5 or 6 and basically never strayed outside of them, apart from interactions in like at school or on a sports team.
And then it all went wrong when you started asking them top or bottom.
Well, it took them like 10 years to understand. Slow learners. Kept asking me, but you don't have bunk beds.
Oh, so naive.
So I've got a question for both of you, actually, that we can use to transition away from Sam's newly appointed segment to sports, which we more commonly talk about. Tom Brady scored or passed for his 600th TD. And I don't know if you saw, I'm assuming Eddie did.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say right now, my answer is no to the question I think you're about to ask.
Well, that would be strange because let me get into my question. Mike Evans, who caught the touchdown pass, then gave the ball to a fan in the stands, and then they came back, someone for the Buccaneers, and bargained with the fan who had the ball to give it back, and then they said they would give him such and such. So what the fan got in return was a different game ball and a $1,000 gift card to the team store and a promise of a helmet, a couple of jerseys, and in quotations, something nice in return from Tom Brady. Now, the ball has been valued already at $500,000 if it were to go into auction, which he gave away for, again, a different game ball, a $1,000 gift card to the team store, and then a helmet and a couple of nice jerseys, in addition to the $1,000 he has to spend at the team store on jerseys, most likely, and something nice from Brady. His thing that he said is he's hoping to get a round of golf with Tom Brady. That's what he would like in return. So my question is, what would you want from Tom Brady if you were to give that ball up? And I guess the answer no wouldn't really suffice there.
Well, my question, so I thought
would you give it back?
And I wouldn't have given it back. I would have said, like, he's got the money. He can pay the $500,000. Like, this is I'll tell you what. I'll give
See you on eBay.
I'll give you a discount.
I don't know if he's even going to keep it. I think it might go right to the Hall of Fame.
Well, then either way, Hall of Fame can buy it off me. Like, that I don't care. The Bucks can buy it off me.
It's a bit. Did they negotiate? Did they bargain with the guy on like
in the stands? They like reached over the stands.
That's now douchey as well because they're just putting him under pressure.
Well, there were cameras on them and stuff. Who knows? Maybe what they said was, we'll negotiate the terms later, but we want to take the ball from you. You never know. They might have said, like, we're going to take it into safekeeping. It's still your ball, but we'll work out the details later on.
So I'll give you time to think, and I'll tell you the best one I've heard so far is someone said they would like a signed ball from Tom Brady that says, yes, the balls were deflated, as kind of like an admission of guilt on that.
He's not going to do that. Because that's like me saying, that's like me saying, I know what I want. I want to be the starting quarterback for the Bucks in the Super Bowl in return. Like, we may as well ask for things.
Well, Eddie, we know how good you are. We know how competent you are at QB.
I could be the punter.
But hey, maybe you ask for field passes in the playoffs.
No, I would want lifetime season tickets to the Bucks. That's demand number one. That's like, I want lifetime season tickets.
Lifetime.
Lifetime. 2.
How many?
2.
2. Okay.
2. Yeah, because I'm not going to go alone. So 2 lifetime season tickets. They don't have to be amazing, but they have to be pretty good. Like, I'm not asking for a luxury box. I don't need anything. Don't need to be a VIP on every game day. But I just want to know the rest of my life I got tickets to the Bucks. Because also,
okay, the average price is it's looking at about $200 per game.
I mean, that's the average price.
That's a low seat. That's a low seat. 1,000 is the higher ones.
But Frank, that's the average price right now when they're Super Bowl contenders. Let's wait 10 years when Tampa Bay is back to being absolutely terrible and no one cares about Tampa Bay anymore, and they can't give those tickets away.
Could you like somehow guarantee yourself, at like halftime they always do the competitions where you can win more money? Could you guarantee a slot every time, like on the opportunity to win more money?
So your
That's
offer is
actually
that
not
the
a
Bucks
bad
commit
option.
fraud?
No, I think you should say I want to like get the kick challenge, and if I get the kick challenge, I can win up to $1 million.
I want the kick challenge on top of the other guy or girl that does it every week.
So I'm going to ask for things I think they could give to me without it costing them a lot of money, really. So I think the 2 lifetime season tickets fundamentally is kind of no cost to them, right? Like, and then I asked for Super Bowl tickets. I asked for 2 Super Bowl tickets and for them to pay for my Super Bowl experience to this year's Super Bowl.
And
Regardless of
if
whether
they're in it and they win.
That might be a lot because those really they spend a lot of money on those. Right?
And I want to pick up the Lombardi Trophy.
I want to be on the field for the celebration.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes' brother style.
Oh God, dancing on the memorials?
TikToking over the 9/11 memorial.
God, no, it would be what's his face? It would be the Cardinals. Oh man, Tillman. Yeah, you could do it over Pat Tillman's memorial.
Yeah. No, I think that's my demand. Lifetime.
You wouldn't want anything personal from Brady, like hang out with Brady, spend a weekend with Brady on a cruise.
What about you get like the kiss that he gave his kid?
That's a good one. I want to be kissed like his child for a year.
Okay, now that would be an interest. That's a funny one. I want to perfectly recreate the kiss scene with his child.
Because that would go on YouTube. You would get millions upon millions of views, so you get residual advertising income there.
I mean, I think you have to spin the something personal with Tom Brady. Like he hangs out like on the bye week, you hang out with him and watch NFL Red Zone the whole time.
But you're giving up something with tremendous, and that's admirable to want an experience, but you're giving up something with tremendous monetary value for something I would get, including an experience with it. Like,
yeah, but the other thing is it was kind of a mistake you got it, right? It's not as if you earned that monetary award. Someone mistakenly gave it to you because they didn't realize the situation. So it's kind of a very tricky. It's not like you bought a lottery ticket and won the lottery. Someone just it's as if someone walked down the street and was like, here's a losing ticket, and gave it to you and it was a winner.
Oh, they're getting nothing. I'll tell you that. Yeah. If that scenario ever happens in my life and I've won the lottery, see ya. The person it's not going to get a dime. The only thing they're getting is a lesson. That's it.
I hope you win your survivor pool and ask me to go get the money. Because that is exactly the same scenario right there.
No, because we know each other.
Can you go pick up my money? Yeah, sure.
No. Because in this scenario, this is a stranger has given me the lottery ticket. I'm not saying Sam gives me his winning, like thinks it's a loser. I realize it's one, and Sam goes, "Hey, have you seen Eddie bought like a bunch of houses and stuff?" And we're like, "Yeah."
You can imagine Frank picking up the money and just you and I every week going, "Where's Frank on the podcast? We keep telling him the time."
You're right, though. I think you do need to get some sort of monetary reward, but I think you should also get some sort of personal, because it's obviously means something to Brady. So it would be nice if he showed the appreciation and did something on like a personal level.
And I mean, the argument would be when I'm asking for tickets, right? I'm getting an experience from it. So if I get lifetime season tickets, I'm buying, game day experiences all the time. I get to bring someone for free on a regular basis, so that would be kind of cool. Family members, people you were dating or whatever, children in the future, you'd always have that opportunity to kind of have that experience. But yeah, I'd probably want to meet him I don't know if I want to sit down. I don't know if I want to watch. So, I mean, it could be miserable with him just being, oh Christ, I've agreed to sit with this loser on a Sunday and watch the NFL on my bye week,
I
and
think
he's
it'd be
just
pretty
there.
fun.
What would you rather watch? Would you watch like a film with him or?
Yeah, Titanic.
What about playing golf with him?
It could be the advantage of making him play golf is that it would probably mean he has to be kind of engaged, right? Because he doesn't want to just embarrass himself on the round. So even if he doesn't talk, and you know he's competitive, so if you felt like you were a decent golfer, you could probably bring some interesting interactions out of him, even if he didn't really want to be there. Whereas I think everything else, if he just doesn't want to be there. I remember my dad telling me his company used to sponsor the German Golf Open. And so what they used to take clients there, and then, you know, a couple of the golfers who were turning up for the event would then have to, like, out of sponsorship requirements, would have to sit and eat dinner with them. And obviously the idea was that you'd sit and eat dinner, and then they were supposed to tell you stories from the PGA Tour and talk golf with you and stuff. And one year he had Nick Faldo, and Nick Faldo sat down.
Is it Sir Nick Faldo?
I guess, yes, now, yes. At the time, no. But Sir Nick Faldo, actually, probably at the time, yes. Sir Nick Faldo sat down, if you really want to go down that path, and didn't say a word. Ate his meal in total silence, finished his 3 courses, just sat there eating, didn't respond to what anyone said, and then as soon as he had finished his meal, got up and walked away, and that was it. He did the, like, Marshawn Lynch, I'm just here so I don't get fined.
He actually said it first. He's actually exactly. He's currently suing Marshawn Lynch for copyright of that phrase. Yeah, you're right. That would be the interesting point. Would be, you know, would he be engaged? What if you got a lifetime meal subscription to the TB12 plan?
Oh no.
would that make you refuse giving the ball back?
Yeah, why would I punish?
Oh, this is really my ball now.
Oh, you know what I've always wanted? I wanted to not eat strawberries ever again. Thank God.
I just think it's a bit douchey that they did it in front of him. Like, I don't know, like you would feel more pressure to do it in case like the crowd started booing you or something like that.
Oh, he definitely gets booed. If he doesn't give the ball back and people start to realize what it is, he's getting escorted out of the stadium. I mean, they probably almost might have just ejected him anyway. You know what I mean? Like, it might have been a situation where, oh, you won't give us the ball? Well, we're kicking you out. And that might also be one of those weird things where you don't even know if the terms and conditions of your ticket, can they just take the ball from you anyway? You know, it could be one of these weird scenarios where they're kind of, we're allowing you to have the ball, but if we want to take the ball back, it is our property. So until you get it like outside of these premises, it's our ball. So there's always the risk that you try and hold on to it and they go, okay, you're going to go this route. You can't take it.
No, that's for sure true though, because I want to say it was the NFL that used to get balls back when they were kicked over the net or something like that. They would go out and get them back because they only have a certain amount of balls and the players like the ones that they're kicking and things like that, that they would get them back from the fans. So that could definitely be a thing.
But that's also because no one really wants the ball. Oh, wow, extra point. Yeah.
You should have seen him.
An official ball is like $40.
Yeah, I know, but it would be a little bit less.
You should have seen him at the game. They're basically going like into the net to do it, like to try and catch it as it went down. But I don't know then what you're doing. So say if you put your hands through the net, but what do you do after that? Like where?
Yeah, you can't. You're not going to be able to rip the net to pull the ball through. So you'd
almost have to get like a layer of like 20 people to like pass it across. Yeah, like it would actually be pretty clever. But by that time, it's the next quarter.
In Japan, they don't let you keep baseballs. You hit a home when they hit home runs in Japan. They like security comes over and you get a photo opportunity holding the ball, and then security takes the ball back.
I just like you get a picture.
Yeah,
Ooh.
just like caught a ball.
a bad
in
picture
fairness,
of me with a ball. Great.
Here's the reality though. Unless it is a significant home run, who really cares? Like if I had a home run ball I'd caught, and it's just there's a baseball sitting on my desk, it only exists so that every once in a while someone would be like, "Hey, where's that ball from?" Yeah, I caught it. Like that's the only reason. That's the only reason you hold on to it is just go, "Yeah, I caught it."
It was a foul ball in the third inning of the 121st game with the Yankees. They were down 6-3. Meaningless.
It was raining. 9 other people were there. I had to run 17 seats over just to pick it up off the ground. I had to wrestle another fat guy.
Well,
take it off a kid.
Eddie. So I guess with that, how about the Bucks dismantling the Bears? And are they?
Well, can we start with the real story of the weekend in the NFL?
Yeah, the Arizona Car. Oh, sorry.
Which is the best?
Chiefs.
Wait, we've all got a different story for that one.
No, I mean it's the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the lead story of the NFL. The question of are they? We kind of asked a couple weeks ago, like, were they in trouble? I mean, the question is now they're definitely in trouble. The question now is, are they done? I mean, like, I don't think the Chiefs are making the playoffs. And when I say they're then done, I don't even know what their long-term future looks like. Kind of spoke a couple of weeks about how these windows can close really fast. I mean, the thing that worries me the most, we all predicted the Chiefs to win this game. And for all three of us, the logic was kind of, yes, the Titans are going to be able to run the ball. Yes, Derrick Henry might be able to have a 200-yard rushing game with 3 touchdowns, but they're not going to be able to keep up with the Chiefs' offense. And what concerns me is that not only do they have a horrifically bad defense, but their offense doesn't even, and this is not just an overreaction to yesterday's game, but just in general, their offense does not look as good as it has done in the past. It looks like teams have kind of figured out how they can take Kelsey and Tyreek Hill away from them. And once you've removed those weapons, it doesn't look great.
See, now I agree and disagree. So I thought the same, that the offense wasn't as proficient as it was in the past few years. They have dropped off slightly, but the drop off actually isn't that much. So where they rank right now in their offense in the NFL is about still top 10 for most statistics. And in some of like the overall offensive statistics, they're actually right there with the Cardinals. And you would say that the Cardinals have one of the best offenses in the NFL, but they're actually right there in terms of like yard efficiency and things like that. So
this is where statistics can be misleading.
Very misleading.
Because it's like, it's one thing to say, yeah, statistically over the course of a season, what is your offense? I want to know. I would have never, ever in previous seasons, if you told me you gave Patrick Mahomes the ball with 2 minutes left, he's got to drive down the field. I would have never said, I would have gone, good luck. Just put 7 points on the board. Game over. If you told me, hey, they're down 14, they're down 17, the Chiefs just got the ball and they're going to get the ball back to start the second half. Okay, they're driving down, they're scoring a touchdown now. They're starting the second half, they're scoring a touchdown within 2 minutes. And this game is 17-14 in a heartbeat, and everything looks different. And yeah, okay, statistically, what? They had a great second half against Washington. Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Well, I mean,
like
33 against the Browns, 35 against the Ravens, 24 against the Chargers, 42 against the Eagles, 20 against the Bills, 31 against Washington. Those are still really high numbers.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter when you're like, this is where the stat is irrelevant, right?
It doesn't matter also scoring 20 against, how many did the Bills score against them?
38, right? Yeah.
And how many did the Chargers?
No, I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't think the drop off in their offense is the worry. The worry is you watch their defense, and it's literally, we talked about this offline, every drive, you're expecting touchdown. I'm surprised when a team doesn't score a touchdown on every drive with the Chiefs right now. I mean, their defense is that bad. If Tennessee didn't just not want to score in that second half, they could have put up 100.
Oh no, 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 no! Don't see. This is where I disagree. Now, whether the bigger problem for them is their defense, but yesterday, it's not that Tennessee stopped wanting to score. I mean, yes, in the fourth quarter when the game was clearly over, sure, but in the third quarter when they couldn't score, you can't tell me that the Titans were sitting there just so confident in the fact a team that has famously blown a massive lead against the Chiefs in a playoff game was sitting there going, "Oh, insurmountable lead for the Chiefs to chase down." Their defensive performance yesterday was okay. It was okay. If you had told Andy Reid and the Chiefs before that game, hey, this is the offer. We will offer you all of this from the Titans' offensive production, they would have bitten your hand off and not thought twice. And on top of it, they would have said, we've won this game by 15.
Isn't it?
But then the reality is their offense was just terrible. I mean, they didn't look like scoring a touchdown. Not only did they not, which is the first time in Mahomes' career where he's not had a touchdown pass or he's not had his offense score a touchdown, but they didn't look like it. They never got close.
I mean, the thing is, though, like, even though it wasn't like defensively bad when you look at the stats, it's just how front heavy, how bad they were. Like in the first half, they gave up 277 yards, right? So it's kind of like the Chiefs haven't had a good defense. Like no one's ever proclaimed them for having incredible defense for the time they've had Mahomes. It's just never been this bad. And the thing is, like, Frank, all those stats about the offense is fine, but they need more than that to compensate now, and they're not getting it. So they're short. As far as I'm concerned, the offense is falling short. But also when you just look at Mahomes' productivity, right, it's 11 turnovers this year already. He was sacked 4 times in the game. It's just crazy to see this team, which, like you say, we're so used to just seeing him blow teams away and have absolutely no problem chasing down a deficit, which this was his biggest deficit, wasn't it? It was like down 24-0 at the half is the biggest deficit he's faced. It's just, I'm starting to think they might be done.
Like, oh, they are done. They're done.
Well, I mean, that was the other thing I was going to say is right now they're only one game out of the wild card still, which this is what might save them, is that the AFC is so middle heavy that right now the Browns are the last one in the wild card at 4-3. So they're sitting one game back at 3-4.
Have you looked at the Chiefs' schedule?
No, I understand that, but I don't. They're not as done as if.
No. Let's run through their schedule and then let's decide if they're done.
Okay.
So next game, they play the Giants. Let's give them the win.
Okay.
Yeah. Home to the Giants. No, on the road to the Giants. Yeah. At the Giants. Following game, at the Packers. You think they're winning on the road? You think they're winning in Lambeau?
No.
Okay. Following game, home for the Raiders.
I think they'll split with the Raiders.
Okay. So let's give them the home win then. So their record, they've now through the next 3 games, they've won 2, lost 1. Following game, they're on the road. They're at the Cowboys. You think they win that?
I'll say no.
So now 2-2 from here on in. Then they're at the Broncos. Win. I think we're probably all going to give them the win. Okay. Then they're at the Raiders. You said they'll lose.
So they're 3-2.
So now they're 3-3 through their next 6.
Yeah.
Then they're home for the Chargers.
Usually a tough game for them. I'd probably give it to the Chargers.
I mean, this Chargers team, I think, would score on every possession.
Yeah, if it's as long as it's not the Chargers team that played the Ravens.
So we say we're losing. So they're 3-4 from here. Then they're on the. I mean, we know what Frank's going to say. They're at the Steelers.
Win.
Okay, 4-4. Okay. They're at home to the Bengals.
Big fat L.
Yeah, as of now, I'd say loss.
And then they're at home for the Broncos. Final week of the season. So we're saying they're going to go 5-5.
5-5. So it's a losing season.
They're not making the playoffs.
So it's a losing season.
Yeah, and that's not going to be good enough.
Yeah. But that's saying that they're playing the way they play. If they can turn around 1 or 2 of those games and they become 9-8, you have a chance in the AFC that 9-8 could make it. just because there's so much parity in the AFC right now. I mean, that their division alone, right? I mean, you have the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Chiefs, who are all going to battle against each other and give each other losses. And then you have your other division of the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens, right?
The other way to flip that though is that puts so much pressure on those games, because all those games where we've given them wins now, they become must win. So it's not even a situation like this game, the Monday night game against the Giants next week. It's huge. Like their season's over if they lose to the Giants. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They're not recovering from that. I mean, Andy Reid might even get fired if they lose to the Giants. No, but seriously, like, but all of these games that are tricky games. So then if they lose to the Giants, so then they'd then be what, 3-5, right? At that stage. So then the Packers game the following week becomes massive. And then, you know, like all of these games suddenly, they're playing basically playoff games for the remainder of the season. And that's really tough.
But how about on the flip side, Eddie? Are you a believer in the Titans? Now, back-to-back wins against the Bills and the Chiefs in pretty strong fashion.
I mean, I feel with the Titans, they are who I thought they were, which is, I mean, we know their run game's pretty effective. If you can't start the run, it opens up the play action when their wide receivers are healthy, and then you have that run game ticking, and with the play action, the pass game becomes really, really dangerous. They'll make big plays downfield through the air. Their defense is okay, but it's not great, but it's okay. I had them trash adjacent, right? I'm putting them back on the counter.
Okay.
But the trash can is still open.
So,
but they could get brushed in at any second.
Let me put this to both of you. Right now, the top three teams, according to like tiebreakers and everything, in the AFC are Bengals, Raiders, Titans. Which one of those do you trust the most that could win a Super Bowl?
Well, to win a Super Bowl, I can't say the Bengals. I'd probably say just for the playoff pedigree
Raiders?
recently, I'd probably say Titans.
I'd say Raiders. Like, I feel like the Raiders, when I have the most doubts about the Raiders in that they're bad. They're the most likely to just throw up a total stinker, right? And lose to a team they shouldn't lose to, as they did a couple weeks ago against the Bears. And I guess they now have the excuse of the Gruden situation.
And what about the Titans, though, losing to the Jets? Does it get worse than that?
You can kind of
the difference is
with the last two.
It does. Well, they had some excuses because they were missing basically all their wide receivers. So I think the Raiders have the highest ceiling out of all those teams. Like, I actually think if the Raiders, when everything works, if they're healthy and everything works for them, like Derek Carr on his day is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. The problem is his day is once every 3 weeks. So can he pack those into the playoffs and save the next bad performance for week 1 of the following season? That's the real question.
But okay, so that's to win a Super Bowl. Well, what about like confidence in the team consistently at the moment? So looking at the Bengals with their kind of hammering of the Ravens, like I would say this is where you've got to start saying that they are not the real deal. Let's be honest here, but they've certainly put themselves as a front runner for AFC North, right?
I don't know. I'm going to put the Bengals and the Chargers in the same category right now for me. I don't quite believe.
Yeah. I think I believe more than Eddie does, but I would say I think the Titans have the best chance to win the Super Bowl just because they have Henry, so they have that great running game, but then Tannehill plays well when he needs to play well, and now he has some weapons that he can go to, and their defense has seemed to step up. The addition of Bud Dupree has looked really good. I mean, he's really carrying that defense right now, and if they can continue to get what was good to see was they're able to get pressure on the quarterback without having to blitz, and that's always been a success in recent years for teams winning Super Bowls, is to be able to get pressure and still have the maximum amount of coverage you can. And if they can do that, like, I mean, they tormented Mahomes with no blitzes at all. They were just dominating. And maybe that's their offensive line still isn't that great, but they seemed to do it the week before with Josh Allen as well. So if they can continue to do that, I think the Titans with that defense and their offense could be a deep playoff contender.
On that note, what odds do you think Derrick Henry is to win the MVP? And what odds do you think he should be to win the MVP? If you see what I mean.
He's probably 25-1. And I would say he should be around 15-1. Because I mean, he didn't play great this week against the Chiefs. He had a touchdown pass, which is interesting, but he didn't have 100 yards rushing, and I don't know if he even had a rushing TD. So I guess that's kind of the issue, is sometimes you can shut down a running back.
Sam?
Oh, I thought you were looking it up. I didn't know if you actually kind of saw it or.
No, I was just waiting for. I was just giving you a chance to share your opinion, but we don't have to do it in
fine.
the future.
It's fine. I'm just done. I'll go to bed. I would have gone shorter. I would have probably said he's probably about 16s or 18s, and he probably should just be a little bit better than that, maybe around 12s or something. Like, that's where I'd go. Because I think if he does beat that record, I think that kind of propels him, and the fact that he's on course at the moment means the bookies probably have to cover that.
So he is 20-1. I think he's going to win the MVP.
So you think
the only
he
people
should
with
be like? So who's favorite at the moment? Like who's
Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray, 7-2.
I mean,
and look, if the
he plays,
Cardinals go unbeaten, then
even if they don't go unbeaten, I think if he plays the whole season and they, let's say, have 3 or less losses, I think he gets it.
So you think if he plays the whole season, the Cardinals lose 3 games, versus Derrick Henry carries the Titans to the playoffs
with 4 or 5 losses.
They make the playoffs. Yeah, but they make the playoffs. They win their division because it's
a weak division.
They're probably going to do anyway. And he has 2,200 yards rushing.
Wouldn't that be the record?
I think he's going to break the record, but he has an extra game.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to break the record.
I don't know, because if you compare, so my only argument against it would be if you look at his stats and then you look at Tannehill's stats, Tannehill would still have decent stats. Whereas if you look at Kyler Murray and then you look at their running backs, there's not much there. It is basically everything is going through Kyler Murray on that offense.
By that logic, though, you're saying, and maybe this is the NFL has kind of made this unofficial statement. What you're basically saying is no offensive player aside from the quarterback could ever be MVP.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if it.
Well, no, because if you say, hey, look at his, because if say a wide receiver, say a guy who has 4,000 receiving yards, but then by that logic, his quarterback has to have at least 4,000 passing yards.
No, my logic would be
like, okay, yeah, well, look what
I know what you're saying, but my logic would be if the quarterback had 5,000 yards and 4,000 were to that receiver, then the receiver should get it. If the quarterback had 8,000 yards passing and 4,000 were to that receiver, then that means it really wasn't so much the receiver as that quarterback was dominant. Whereas I think with the Titans, I think people assume the Titans always win because Derrick Henry is so unstoppable. But when you watch them play, Tannehill plays well. He's a good quarterback. He doesn't make mistakes. He throws good touchdowns.
I'm not implying. Yeah, he's an NFL quarterback, Frank. Like, he's going to make good plays, but
no, I mean, he could be a shitty NFL quarterback as well. I mean, that's a stupid thing to say.
But most of well, no, because saying like he plays, he makes good throws, he throws touchdown, and it's like, yeah, any starting quarterback, most of the big plays they make are play action, and the only reason their play action works so well is because he has the biggest threat in the NFL as the option of handing the ball off to. So you can reverse it and say, can I subtract every play action yard from Tannehill's stats and then figure out how many passing yards he has where Derrick Henry was not involved as a threat at all? No screens, no play action. And then calculate from there, okay, this is the true assessment of Tannehill's performance minus Henry. Because if you're just taking away, well, Tannehill's performance, if they have a good passing game, then their running game isn't as important as you think it is.
Yeah, I mean, so for instance, last year with play action, Tannehill had 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And with no play action, he had 21 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a 68% completion record versus a 60% with play action. So he was better without play action than with play action last year.
Well, how many do you have the number?
I have
of
yards per attempt. So he was at.
No, but that's not going to. Because the point would be, it seems weird to me if he has 12 touchdowns from play action and 21 from non-play action. That would imply that, because I'm doubting that 33% of their passing plays were play action. I mean, maybe that seems to be very heavy in favor of play action. But if they weren't 33% of the time running play action, then that means their threat from scoring is significantly higher on a play action play than it is on a traditional pass play.
Yeah, I can't get that deep into the stats, but at least I attempt to back my things without just saying something. He's better with play action.
It's a feeling.
Because I watch Red Zone.
It's a feeling.
No. I didn't say he was better with play action. I was saying that part of the reason why their pass game is effective when it's working well is the play action. And it is the fact that they have the threat of, hey, we can just hand it off to this guy and get 6 yards. Here you go. Do you want to not stop him? Because he's going to fall forward for 6 yards.
Yeah, I understand that part. But what I'm also saying, too, is on the other end of the spectrum, who do you think leads the Cardinals in rushing yards?
Oh, it's probably
not.
Kyler
It's
Murray.
Chase Edmonds with 390 rushing yards. I mean, that's, okay. What I'm saying is everything is going through Kyler Murray on that offense. Whereas if you had Kyler Murray and let's say insert a decent running back right now who has 600 yards rushing, then I would argue that their offense is just good. The Cardinals' offense is just phenomenal. Everyone's clicking.
But okay, then. All right, then by this logic, then we already know who the MVP is for the next 15 years.
To be fair, QB's
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't argue that. If they, without this week's game, if the Ravens continued to play like how they were playing, I would have no gripe with Lamar Jackson getting the MVP this year.
No, but by your logic, everything runs through Lamar Jackson.
If they win.
Everything.
I mean, that's the other caveat. He's the most valuable player on a winning team.
Well, then, but
if the Ravens lose 12 games, even though it goes through him, they're not winning. So why is he valuable? Because they're losing.
So if he has 500 total yards a game on average, but they have the Chiefs defense. So even though you're
going to give me a completely unrealistic number of 500 yards a game.
Total yards? It's not that crazy. I mean, could he? Is it inconceivable?
How many times has he had 500 yards?
Is it inconceivable?
How many times? I don't think he's ever done it more than once. But again, you just throw out a number without any backing. This is the Eddie way.
No, because here's the thing: is it inconceivable? Is it inconceivable that he could average 350 yards through the air and 150 yards on the ground?
Yeah, I think that's pretty inconceivable. Has he ever done that in a game?
It's not.
Maybe once. And now you're saying he's going to average that out. So every game he's going to do it versus doing it once in his 60 games.
But yeah, is it kind of just biased? anyway. Like, it's inevitably always going to go to a QB. It kind of doesn't matter.
But that's my point. If you take Frank's approach, yes, because any running back, it's unlikely you're going to have a running back putting up exceptional numbers in an otherwise awful. It's going to be like, oh, we couldn't pass the ball to save our lives, but our run game was effective somehow, even though these teams didn't just decide to just stop the run at all costs. So, in order for the run game to be effective, you probably need some degree of threat in your pass game. So, yeah, you're going to say, well, we're always going to default to the quarterback. And then we're always going to take the quarterback on a winning team, even if someone else was, that becomes a larger discussion about what does MVP mean.
That was going to be my point.
I would argue that he is the most singularly talented player of any player in the NFL. He's irreplaceable. He is the only offensive player that I think you genuinely could not replace in any way, shape, or form by having a free choice from another team.
You're talking about Kyler Murray.
No, I'm talking about Derrick Henry. I think he could replace Murray.
Wait, are you actually talking about Derrick Henry and not Lamar Jackson?
I'm talking about Derrick Henry. I think you can replace Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying that you run exactly the same plays. I'm saying you get the same level of efficiency out of your quarterback. I think there's no way you get the same level of efficiency out of any other running back. Otherwise, someone else would be doing what Derrick Henry's doing.
That's kind of what I think about it. Like, I think with MVP, it always just feels inevitable. Like you say, it's going to go to the winning season teams. Chances are it's going to go to the best names, right, of that kind of season, which in a way sounds obvious. But for me, I would say the MVP is actually more to do with like what they do and how they transform that team. And look, I know you guys will laugh about it, but I just want to have a case in point with it with Jamar Chase at the Bengals.
Joe Burrow.
Oh, no. Actually, like wide receivers never win it, right? So he's never going to win it. So I'm not even implying it is. But, right, the guy's got 754 yards through 7 games. And that's the best of any first-year player in history. It's never been done. And he's doing it for a team that in 2019 was the worst team. And last year had their franchise QB injured for the year.
It's like caveat there. They played a significant chunk of last year without their star quarterback.
Yes, agreed.
So it's not like
that was kind of the case.
No, I know, but it's framed in a slightly misleading way there of like they were terrible. Jamar Chase arrived, and now look, they're unstoppable.
Yeah, but what I mean is like where they were to the team they are now, and we're nearly halfway through the season. So whether you think it's a flash in the pan with the Bengals or not is separate. But my point is that the story with Jamar Chase is almost like he is more valuable for that team than maybe Murray at the Cardinals. I'm just making a point for wide receivers as well. But anyway.
Wide receivers do become trickier because then it is how much is the quarterback. That becomes a very difficult question to answer. And I mean that genuinely. I don't know how you identify how much, like Randy Moss in his incredible season in 2007 with the Patriots, how much is that Randy Moss just being the best wide receiver in the league, which he undoubtedly was, but then how much is also it's Randy Moss with Tom Brady, with Bill Belichick on a really, really good team. Because and that's where it becomes for the wide receivers, that's where it becomes really hard because you are directly tied to the performance of your quarterback. At least with a running back, you can kind of separate them. With a wide receiver, it's
like, I think running back and quarterbacks are the only slightly independent positions off of each other, whereas every other position you're depending on, the quarterback. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if Henry can keep it up. But he had 95 yards this game? It's his first game without 100 in a while.
Yeah, but that's also kind of a testament to how good he is, right? Where it's like, he didn't have 100 yards. And that's like, wow, what a terrible performance. Whereas most running backs in the league, if they're getting 80 plus yards there, people are raving about what a good week that was for fill in the blank running back.
Yeah, it's his first since week 1 when he ran for 58 yards against the Cards that he's been held to under 100.
So, what were the other talking points from? Obviously, we kind of touched a little bit on the Bengals there. That was, a little bit of a statement win for them. The Niners, really sloppy performance.
Are we even talking about the Niners?
Difficult
Why
weather
are we
conditions.
talking about them? They're an irrelevant team at this point.
I wouldn't say they're not irrelevant yet. They're approaching irrelevance.
They're like right above the Giants at number 25.
They're trash adjacent.
Yeah, they're trash.
They're trash adjacent, for sure.
Now, will Trey Lance be the starter? If he's healthy, yes. Do you play him next week?
Yes, because I think if you're the Niners now, you also have to make the assumption that this season is almost over. Like we're basically in a situation where, any Super Bowl hopes have kind of gone out the window. So you may as well get a better sense of what you have in Trey Lance and also give him kind of a free year to try and learn the ropes. Now, there is that assessment there of if it is too much too soon, you could just destroy his confidence. So that's the only thing, and we have no way of properly answering that. If you really feel like you're just sending him out to the slaughter, don't do it, because you could just destroy him. But if they think he is pretty much NFL ready and capable of putting in getting some positives out of each time he goes out there, then yeah, I would basically say this season now is the Trey Lance development season.
Will it be the last one with Kyle Shanahan?
I said that this discussion was going to happen, and it has happened. It's been across various different media outlets that I read or listen to. There has been that. Is Shanahan overrated as a coach discussion, and are we sure Shanahan's that good? I think they'll keep him. In particular because he and Lynch get along so well. They're almost a package deal at this point that for Lynch to make the decision as GM to get rid of Shanahan would be Lynch taking one step towards the door at the same time. So I always think as a head coach, when you do feel as if you and the GM are in it together, then it probably means you have a little bit more time. I think they give him a couple more seasons. I think they now will let him have the Trey Lance project.
I think
if he's a bust,
I think that's the important thing too, right? I mean, we talked about this last week. I think it was that he's a quarterback guru, right? And he has a young kid who he thinks the world of here that they can hopefully mold into a great QB. So I think you have to give him a shot. And that approach of having a good veteran coach to handle a rookie QB could work well for the Niners. The team that it is not working out for right now is the New York Jets. And at a point, you have to start to feel bad for Zach Wilson, because not only are they a coaching staff that has no experience with most of their coaching positions, with Salah's never been a head coach, their O coordinator I don't think has ever called the plays, any of that. They're not giving Wilson, I guess, the best treatment there. But then also, this has been brought up before, but it's now obvious when Wilson went out, their backup is just as unknown and unexperienced of a QB as Zach Wilson is. And it just blows my mind when you have a coaching staff that's inexperienced, you wouldn't at least bring in a veteran QB to help Zach Wilson kind of understand the ropes of being a NFL quarterback. And especially because he came from a school that isn't like an Alabama or like a Michigan or something like that has an NFL style offense. He came from BYU, where when you watch him play, it's just take the ball, run around, and make some exciting plays. I mean, no disrespect to BYU. I'm sure they have a good offense, but they're not NFL caliber like these other schools are. And you have a quarterback that, he's probably the most experienced one in the quarterback room, which is not what you would want it to do. And just watching that unfold was a disaster on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of touches on some of the points I brought up just there with Trey Lance, right? You can do so much damage. It's like, yes, maybe he's getting experience and maybe he's improving, but at the same time, you might just be destroying any little bit of confidence he has left, and it might not be recoverable. And in a way, the Jets just did this to a quarterback. And you're now seeing a project in Carolina where they're trying to salvage whatever is left of that quarterback. But, it might just be a case here where, and I don't know what you do then, because you know that if you're the Jets and you're losing every game, which they would be, regardless of who was really starting a quarterback, the pressure on the head coach and everyone involved to be putting their high draft pick quarterback in the game would be immense. People would be booing, like calling for the quarterback. They would say, like, why did you draft him if he wasn't able to step right in and make us better? And they would be pointing to other quarterbacks around the league who've been able to do that. So it's sort of a lose-lose when you're already bad. And it does show the one benefit of Trevor Lawrence being in a city where there just isn't the same level of pressure and attention. Because not that his performances have been as bad as Wilson's, but he does have a tremendous benefit in being in Jacksonville, where certainly on a national level, no one really cares. So you can really get away with some bad performances in the way that people love to laugh and point at how bad the Jets are. It's kind of become like a national pastime over the last 10 years. And you can just be certain his bad highlights, references to whether or not he's seeing ghosts and all those sorts of stuff, that's just never going to stop until a Jets quarterback comes in and does it. You're living in the shadow of the butt fumble, basically. And until a quarterback comes in and takes them back to the playoffs, that's always going to be there.
Like, this is something I'm maybe just trying to think about, but it's specifically like a New York thing, right? This kind of pressure, because you just mentioned about like your quarterbacks having their like confidence shattered because maybe they're thrown to a bad team or bad receivers, so the transition year is a bit difficult. But surely there's an expectancy with these players that they're kind of mentally conditioned and ready for this kind of thing to some extent, that they wouldn't be shattered within 5 games of playing. Like,
you have to expect that almost every quarterback who makes the NFL has spent their entire career just winning. Like, you'll have probably made it to the NFL having been on an overwhelmingly dominant high school team where maybe you lost a couple of games. Like, maybe you were on a smaller team in your state and you lost some like state championship games or something from time to time, but you probably had a win percentage way over 90%. Then you've gone to a college where, even if you've gone to BYU as Wilson, so yeah, you've not won national titles, but he's won the vast majority of his college starts.
Yeah, they were national championship contention that last year. Remember, they went like undefeated, or they lost their last game or something like that. He was good this last season.
So suddenly, for the first time in your life, you're not winning consistently. And that's also when you're being tested. I mean, just imagine it in your own career progression. Imagine you're like, yeah, I'm really good at this. Yeah, I'm really good at this. Oh, I just got a big promotion. Everything dumpster fire. Like, everything's going wrong. And there, you can't tell me that you would sit there confidently being like, I have 100% confidence in my own abilities. If I can just see this through, if everyone can just have confidence in me for a little bit longer, I will right this ship. There would be at least a seed in your mind going, uh-oh, maybe I wasn't that good. Maybe I've overestimated my abilities throughout a lot of my life, and the people around me just haven't realized I was not quite.
And then add on to that, when you walk out of your office, you just have people screaming and booing you and badgering you on social media 24/7, throwing tomatoes at your face as you walk out of your office.
Yeah, and then you would be like logging into LinkedIn, and there would be an article there saying, is Samuel Jones good at his job? I don't think so.
Would Dexter Jones be better?
Right. Hot. Exactly. I think, and look, some people will ride that out, and maybe with some people that even makes them more resilient and mentally tougher. There is that possibility, but I can understand someone getting crushed by it, even if they are pretty tough. And even if they do have all of the necessary talent and abilities to be a really successful NFL quarterback, I think that's the thing with sports, right? So much of it, yes, people can argue it's a meritocracy, and yes, the kind of the talent will shine through at all opportunities, but so much of it is situational. You stick a really good player in any sport onto just a disastrous team. A, it's tough to look that good, and B, it's easy for you to lose confidence in yourself based on the overall team performance. Even if you think I'm way better than this, at a certain moment in time, it might not matter.
Yeah, and then I guess in that same scenario, you have Justin Fields, who has looked progressively worse as the weeks have gone on and had a absolutely horrific week. The surprising thing was Mahomes had the worst QBR out of the early games with, I think it was like a 6, which is terrible. And then Justin Fields came out and said, I can top that. And I think had a 1.5 or a 2, which is almost off the charts bad. So he's another one, who you have to start to question if he goes through even 3-4 more weeks of that bad of a performance. Who knows what that's going to do to him? It did not look good. But one of the interesting facts, Eddie. Oh, go ahead.
I also think the similarities you see in both of those situations is not only is it question marks of how good is a quarterback, it's everything else in the organization. Like, if you go to the Patriots and you're a bad rookie quarterback, at least okay, all of the other pieces around me, we know are good. We know that these people are going to be able to bring the best out of me. If they are saying I'm good, then I believe, like, Bill Belichick giving me the stamp of approval means something. And I also know that Bill Belichick isn't going to be fired because I lose my game. I lose the next game. And you also don't have to go into that game thinking, crap, if I lose this game and the head coach does get fired, maybe the next head coach won't believe in me. So I really need this guy to stick around because he's the only way I'm going to get any, like, his future is tied to my future. And we both know that. So the only way I'm actually going to get a chance here is if he's around for a while. As soon as a new guy comes in and wants to clean house, I'm gone because he's not going to want to be stuck. He doesn't want me to.
Isn't this just the inevitability of the way the NFL drafts? Is that the best QBs are going to go to the worst teams? Like, that's the balancing idea, right? So I just find it strange. Like, I know this was like an especially kind of bumpy year for kind of QBs getting drafted in terms of like expectation on them, but isn't it always the case that good QBs are going to go to the worst teams? So isn't there always going to be this pressure?
Well, there's always going to be this pressure. The argument would be, and this is the problem for the QBs who struggle a little bit initially, is that there are enough examples of quarterbacks pretty quickly turning things around. I mean, look at Joe Burrow with the Bengals. I mean, yes, they have other things around him. They're not a terrible team, but he was instantly able to make an impact, and they looked better from one week to the next because of what he was able to offer at the quarterback position. Whereas you don't look at the Jets or the Bears and say, they look, okay, they're still bad, they're still losing games, but things look a little bit better. Nothing looks better. And look, I mean, we've kind of had this discussion before when we talked about the concept of not rushing Trey Lance in or even not rushing Justin Fields in. It's not that long ago that a quarterback would have sat for a long time. Mahomes only played one game in his rookie year. And, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, these were not players who were necessarily rushed into starting jobs at all times. But nowadays, the expectation is you draft a quarterback high in the draft, he should be your starter week 1 of the next season. No questions asked. And then the expectation is, because other quarterbacks have delivered from pretty much week 1 of their first season, that if he doesn't do the same, then he probably sucks.
So what's changed there then? Is it just that the NFL is becoming more fickle, or like kind of crowds and kind of staff are becoming, or owners, I guess, are becoming more fickle with it? Because I agree with you. Like, in the same way that if you sign like a 17-year-old wonder kid, it isn't the expectation that he goes into Manchester City and starts scoring 20 goals. So you kind of bench him, you bleed him into the lineup. So why all of a sudden with the NFL,
wonder kid? That's
an FM term.
That's not a word.
I always associate wonder kid with Football Manager.
I'm making a
Oh,
Ted
really?
Lasso
I've
joke.
forgotten. Wow, I've completely forgotten about that show.
Even I knew that joke.
Wow. I cannot wait until we have a sponsorship deal with like an MRI
Well, no, it was just like
machine manufacturer because we need to get some.
I think
We
with
need to get some
Ted
brain
Lasso, it's
scans
just
from
like,
both of you.
you know, it was a good second season, but it's done. On to the third. Let's see it. Um,
I didn't realize your memory was just a hard drive.
It's
And you
pretty
wiped it
selective
as
for
soon as
long-term
anything.
retention. That's for sure. But anyway, like you wouldn't do that with in the Premier League unless you spent an insane amount of money and they were already doing it. But why has the NFL now changed from, you know, the people you mentioned to like what we're seeing now with all the young rookie QBs?
Well, I think the rules have changed, right? It's made becoming a quarterback easier. More and more college teams are running offenses that where the transition, and also I think two things have happened. A lot of college offenses have become a little bit closer to the NFL in their approach, and then also a lot of NFL offenses have become a little bit closer to the college style in their approach. So the transition period is maybe not as severe as it might have been in the past. And then additionally, just with the rule changes, it's maybe become a little bit easier to be a quarterback in the NFL. And so you maybe feel as if someone should be able to deliver a little bit faster. But I don't know. I mean, if you want to do the comparison to, yeah, if you sign, even if he's a 17, 18-year-old kid, you sign someone for 90 million pounds, how long are they going to tolerate him being sat on the bench and saying, no, it's one for the future. If you're losing games week in, week out, and he's just sitting on the bench unused, not even making the match day squad, say, hypothetically, people would be questioning your decision making and having spent that money and very quickly saying, uh-oh, are they now deciding that he wasn't good enough and didn't warrant this kind of move? So you see it in every sport to a degree. Obviously, the U.S. it's just different because of the draft. But look, most quarterbacks are going to be flops. This is the thing we really know, right? But I also think you have to give people time. You know, a lot of the quarterbacks who are performing right now didn't necessarily. You know, Josh Allen was good in his first year, but he wasn't.
He also didn't start right
amazing.
away.
Yeah, but you know, I don't think after a few starts someone would have turned around and said, "Hey, within a couple of years, he's going to be in the discussion for being possibly the best quarterback in the league." That would have been a bold prediction to have made. So, having some patience is a good thing. At the same time, knowing when to cut your ties and stop the losses also a good thing. So, it's a difficult decision to make.
Eddie, I don't know if you heard the useless stat this week thrown around, but that was, speaking of Justin Fields, that was the first time that Tom Brady from the University of Michigan faced off against a quarterback from Ohio State in his career.
I didn't know that. That's kind of surprising, though. That's an interesting fact.
That's upgraded. That's an interesting one.
Hey, well done, Frank. Good work.
Well, here's what I would say is that could be a really difficult, like, pub quiz trivia question. Like, list all of the Ohio State quarterbacks that Tom Brady has played against in his NFL career. I would have come up with a list of probably 4 or 5. And so that would be interesting. Or even if you just said how many has he played against, if you wanted to make it a slightly easier question. So in that sense, I think it's interesting. I thought the useless stat, right, is the Mahomes first game with no touchdowns.
Since he's
with the offense.
Yeah, since he's been
touchdowns.
a starter.
Been with the Chiefs.
Did you know, Eddie, that Sunday was National Tight Ends Day? I'm not sure if you caught that. It was only said 5,000 times on television.
They need to give that a rest. I like Kittle, but it's where something that was kind of a joke has evolved into being way bigger than it was, and now
like
it's
scorigami. Also getting extremely annoying.
Yes. Also, the scorigami thing. So for those unfamiliar, that's the scorigami, which is like they identify when a score has never happened before in the NFL. And I first became aware of it, I think it was a week ago, when there was a game where like, oh, this is the score that's about to happen has never happened again in the NFL. And I was like, well, that's crazy. I wouldn't have thought that happens very often. Then the next week it happens again. And I'm like, I don't know how interesting this is. Now that we've created this as a thing, is this going to happen 5 times a season where it's like, this score's never happened before? I mean, at some point in time, right, they exhaust the possibilities. That's the good news, barring teams starting to have 73, 74 games.
Yeah, so as of now, there's been 1,068 unique scores in the NFL.
I can't tell if that's a lot. Like with the permutations and the almost infinite possibilities, right?
But you hear it now all the time. It gets very annoying very quick. It's not so, like, who cares?
And it's like an alert, like,
I guess.
Okay, let me tell you some scores. So I'm looking at NFL scores. So there are 1,419 missing scores. I guess this is based on scores they consider to be
achievable.
Yeah.
So because conceivably there's an infinite number of missing scores, but so of the ones that you would think, looking through this list, and it's surprising, have never happened. 11-9 has never happened.
That's surprising.
That's kind of surprising.
How would you get to 11?
So
3 field goals and a safety.
Go for 2 and a field goal. 2 and a field goal.
2 and a field goal.
I mean, nowadays where teams might go for 2 on their opening, you'll see teams score their first touchdown and go for 2. It's becomes
I was
more
wondering
doable.
when you would ever. Yeah. Okay. Why would you have gone for 2?
You just need a team that's decided. Well, like the Browns went for 2, right? In the Browns have gone for 2 and scored the opening on their when against the Chiefs. Didn't they do that? They scored on their opening possession and instantly went for 2. I think. But look, a lot of these scores would require a safety. So a lot of them, like 4-0. So you need 2 safeties and nothing else. 2-2 has never happened. 4-2.
What a game 2-2 would be.
So basically any score that involves just safeties being scored by one team has not occurred. 18-11 has never happened. 20-11 has never happened.
A lot of 11s.
22-11. 22-18. That seems like a score you would have seen. This must be riveting listening, I will say. Just me running through numbers, being like, isn't it crazy that's never happened? 25-18 has never happened.
Are you going to tell users to spot the pattern in what you're saying? Like some sort of sequence that unlocks a safe?
Basically, here's the thing is, if you think of the team's winning score and then you say against 2, 4, 5, 8, or 11, it probably hasn't happened. It's basically what this works out.
So just to wrap it up, last year in 2020, there were 12 scorigamis in the NFL. So it happens fairly regularly.
Oh, so it's basically every week. Oh. And that's the reason why it will be happening more regularly now, right? Is people going for 2 more frequently, which means not only are they getting 8s, but they're also getting 6s more frequently. Thrilling stuff. Maybe we can dedicate a future podcast to ranking unachieved NFL
or
scores.
we just say a score and you say if it's been achieved or not, and then you tell me the first time it was.
Yeah, that could be a Christmas special.
I'll tell you what. Okay, as a game we'll play really quickly now. You two try and say a score that has not been achieved. Now, the only rule now being you cannot use 2, 4, 8, or 11 as one of the scores. And you also can't pick some. You can't tell me 110 to 94. So within reason, try and guess a number, and I will tell you whether or not that score has been achieved.
31-19.
Okay. Frank? Sam, sorry.
43-12?
He goes for it over 40.
So wait, so
Yes.
31-19. 31-19 has been achieved. Sorry. The only available, interestingly enough, the only 31s that have not been hit yet are 31-4 and 31-11. Every other combination involving 31 that they consider to be realistic has been done. And what was
76
yours,
to
Sam?
68, I think it was.
312.
40, what was it? 43-12. It's been
Suck
done.
it, Sam.
43 was a good number to go for, though. 43 has not been combined with 43-2, 4, 5, 9, 15, 20, 25, 26, 29, 30, 31, 33, 36, 41, or 42. So,
All right. Well,
you identified a good winning number.
I'll go for 43-15 then.
it looks like this podcast we've dedicated to trying out some new segments. Some work, some have not.
Some have been good. Some winners, some losers.
Now, speaking of people who might be running out of time, then, I guess the big takeaway from the Premier League this weekend was Liverpool's dismantling of Manchester United, which in and of itself, it was a good performance from them and definitely reinforces their title challenge just with the nature of, just how good they looked. But I think most people have walked away from that not focusing on Liverpool's performance, but rather how bad Manchester United looked. And time does seem to be running out for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with tonight reports suggesting that Manchester United have approached Conte to come in as his replacement. Interesting. All of the reaction to it, right, was that he seemed to switch to a press. There was, I don't know if you saw, but there was a Ronaldo reaction after when one of Liverpool scored one of their goals, where he was kind of like pointing all over the pitch to indicate the fact that their tactics were sort of scrambled and people were just all over the place. You have to think at this point that Solskjaer is a dead man walking, and it's a question of when and not if.
It was such an abject performance, like from all kind of parts of the pitch as well. Like the defending was atrocious. There was no tracking back. There was no like care within the midfield either. And then obviously up front was kind of nothingness as well. I think it's just, I honestly, you could probably just sack him on the performance alone. It was that bad. But obviously there's a lot of other parts coming into it. Like, obviously they brought Ronaldo in, they've spent money on Sancho, and they haven't really understand how to bring him into the fold as well. It does kind of just have that feeling that he just doesn't have the experience or the kind of know-how to take what is a very talented group of players. Whether that's a talented team is a different story. So, but have you been listening to kind of all the Man U legends talking about it, like Ferdinand and Roy Keane and all that? And they've basically been pointing to the fact that all of these players are... It's Solskjaer. Look, Solskjaer's to blame as well, but all of these players, like the second they get an opportunity to like throw Solskjaer under the bus or kind of make it about them in terms of, oh, it wasn't me, I was good on the pitch, and that they're kind of feeling that there's just no sense of team mentality with them. I don't know if you see it, but I know there's a lot of personalities in the team. But
yeah, I think you could replace the word personality with egos, and it's tough. And it's also tough from a player perspective because a lot of them get blamed. Paul Pogba for a long time has been a little bit of a scapegoat when it comes to Manchester United's performance. And Ronaldo is becoming one where already people are saying, oh, was it wrong? Can you win with Ronaldo? Yes, he'll score goals, but do you have to sacrifice so much because of his lack of work rate that it basically... you're not able to press teams because he just won't work hard enough. So therefore, you can't play in the modern style that basically every big team uses. So you can understand from a player perspective of sort of, particularly if you're Ronaldo and you walk in and you're a lifetime winner and you're kind of 3 months into being at the club, a club that wasn't winning and is basically kind of doing what it has done over the past few seasons, and suddenly you're getting blamed, and you think to yourself, what have I done? Like, I'm not the, maybe we're not doing better with me, but we're not doing any worse, and somehow I'm being blamed for how poor these performances are. So it's tough all around. You probably need a very highly respected manager to step in to manage the players that are there. But then I guess it's tough because there's examples, Klopp wasn't some huge name necessarily when he was given the chance at Liverpool. He certainly wasn't a huge name when he was given the chance at Dortmund. It's a tricky one.
Do you think it's inevitable with Conte though? Because I mean, obviously he gave that interview where he said like, "Yep, I'll take the Man U job, ready for it, etc." But the kind of over the past like hour or so on Twitter, it doesn't seem like anything's even been offered to him or even approached to him. So there's a ton of contradiction going around, but it's
well, they can't approach him until they sack Solskjaer. I mean, I know that they'll contact his agent and say, would he take this job? Hypothetically, that's what you. But can you imagine if it comes out that they've negotiated a contract with Conte, and but Solskjaer's still employed?
just this really awkward
hey,
like double manager position
Spurs,
where they've got two coaches. Yeah,
I don't know. So Conte supposedly is generally against taking charge of teams mid-season. This is one supposedly, for people who are familiar with him and know him, he says that is not a good move.
Eddie, can I give you, I think, to be another interesting fact about this? You tell me if you think it's interesting or not. Okay. As either a player or a manager, he's been involved in 4 out of the 5 worst United losses in Premier League history. You did or didn't?
Yeah, I did know that, yeah.
Yeah.
That I did know that. But I mean, because Manchester United have only lost at home by 5 goals or more, I think.
For Premier League,
there something like that.
I think it was 5, wasn't it?
And
this is combined.
Yeah, this is counting. Yeah, and 3 of those were in the last 10 years. So, and yeah, I guess he would have been 2 of them. He was manager for, and then I suppose he was. Is he still a player for them when City beat them?
Why always me? Ballot, yeah, it was 6-1, wasn't it?
The why always me.
No, but he was involved when Chelsea beat them 5-0 and when Newcastle beat them 5-0.
Speaking of football, though, Eddie, I don't know if you saw. Did you see Joey Barton's in the news for all the wrong reasons again? Some of his, it's crazy. So he manages Bristol Rovers, so obviously like a small League Two team. And do you know what he said about the terrible performance? And I quote, "Someone gets in, does well for the game, and then has an absolute holocaust, a nightmare, an absolute disaster."
It's not funny, obviously, for some reasons. The reason why it is funny, I mean, Joey Barton is an idiot. So he probably kind of learned the word Holocaust, but doesn't really obviously understand what it means. It's not as if he is genuinely comparing their performance to a genocide and the attempted extermination of the Jewish people and a number of other ethnic groups. But it's just wonderful because he would have, he probably thought, he was like, I'm going to use a big word here. I'm going to say,
I love it.
As a Holocaust.
Like coining a phrase, is that an absolute
Holocaust,
mate? It's absolutely terrible. Like one of the people who went back to him, I think from the fan association group, was like, all the way to say bad, yet you decide how to say it. Will the players be having a 9/11 next? It's like this idea of just...
Well, that's not doing any better. That's not doing it. You can't try and call him out by making a joke about oh, I need next. What's it going to be next? But and look, certain managers could probably get away with that as being part of their charm, right? Who was his name? Oh, Ian Holloway. Like if Ian Holloway had said that, he probably gets away with just being this kind of country bumpkin using weird words in a kind of charming way to describe his team. But the fact that Joey Barton obviously has a number of, for context for listeners not familiar with the Joey Barton story, he once tried to put a cigar, well, did put a cigar out right in a teammate's eye. Can you do this at one moment? He's had multiple fights with teammates. Unfortunately, his cousin was linked to a fairly high profile murder. That's not necessarily his fault, but it didn't do his reputation any good. Yeah, just over the course of his career has had a number of run-ins with both the law and his teammates. So he also very strangely signed for Marseille and then started having a French accent in his press conferences when he was speaking English.
I want to go back to country bumpkin. What is the more insulting part of that? The country or the bumpkin?
How dare you call me
country?
When you say
shouldn't be
someone's
insulting.
like from the country, sometimes it can be quite insulting.
Not just the way. Yeah,
but
like
not in
I
this
understand.
instance.
Like
It's just
you
saying
can
you're not
use
from a
like
big
words around
city.
it, and the way you say it could be bad. But you can't just say the word country.
Yeah. If I just say you can't. If I say I
Oh,
live
Eddie,
out in the
calm down.
country, you'll be like,
Language.
oh wow.
But it was obviously
Ugh.
it was really important of the chief
I
exec
even
of
don't.
the
I mean,
Holocaust Educational Trust to come out and say a bad football match is nothing like the Holocaust. I'm because I was unsure, like having a source of knowledge like Joey Barton, who famously once punched Morten Gamst Pedersen in the face as well. It's also a pretty good one. I didn't realize he was such a learned scholar on the Holocaust.
All right, I'll talk to you boys later.
See ya.